It's this one right here. In fact, I think we might have looked at this back with our coaching students a few months back. But this was kind of an interesting property to me, because this started at 90,000 and ended up dropping down to 30,000, and that's when it finally sold. Now, obviously, you can see that, the exterior, there's things that need to be done, but it was right in the middle of a rehab.
Yeah, or like, was it? It's not a new construction, right? It was like a remodel.
Yeah, it's a remodel. I think it was built in the 90s.
Okay.
And so you can see how they were going in and they were remodeling everything.
Yeah, I mean they did. Looks like they took it down to the to sheetrock in a lot of places.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of opened it up. I don't know what the black is all about, but you could really brighten this particular home up. And they've done a bunch. You can see they have the new tile.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
they've got the ceiling lighting too. They look like they have canned lighting in there.
yeah. So you'd obviously have to put in new siding. They've got a bunch of new windows. There's some windows that need to still be replaced. You know, um, but it's overall clean. It's dry. It's in a really nice area. And so I think, let's say that you were even to put in 50, 80 grand in rehabbing it, you just need, except for the exterior, you just need to put in paint, finish putting in appliances, putting in carpet, but the frame itself, like Shade said, it's even got, the new lighting put in. So everything's done to finish this project. In fact, if we would have been, I was watching it, but if we would have been more prepared, I would have loved to bid on this property.
Yeah, at 30,000. Yeah, there's a lot of potential profitability in a house that big too. That it's got a lot of new stuff in it, and it doesn't show any obvious, reasons or signs, that would warn you away from it. I mean, it's got to have a tremendous value.
Yeah, and so I was just looking for the closest sales next to this property. This obviously isn't the same thing. This is a prefab, but it's sold for 110. It's on a smaller lot as well, but I'd gone,
No,
it's close by.
210.
Yeah, 210, sorry. Sold for 210, said it's valued about 240, and it's still kind of original, cabinet, it's just kind of all kind of is what it is, but not a bad little property, but really not a great comp because they're different type. This one was still needed to kind of be rehabbed, sold for 200,000. But I think once you rehab the property, here's one that sold for 170 that was close by, but this is just a tiny little, uh, um,
Two bedroom, one bath.
yeah, it's just a tiny little house, but you can see how they're selling. Here's one that sold for 281, which I think if you put in a nice level of rehab, you could be in the 250 range on, on this particular house.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, boy, that's really a low percentage of value, that it sold too, right? For 30,000.
Yeah, it sold for 30,000. But the other one's on a bigger lot. It's a big, huge lot. This is obviously nice. They put a lot of work into this, and so this is obviously nicer than probably we would redo that home. But kind of based on what some of these are selling for, a little teeny thing like this, I think
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
mean,
only 800 square feet.
yeah, I mean,
Here's
we saw properties for ranging from 140 up to 300,000 essentially there. You can kind of get an idea of where this would fit in.
Yeah, so even if you were into 130,000, I mean, say you paid 100,000 into rehabbing it, making it beautiful, you're into a total of 130,000. You could still sell it for 250, and that's putting 100,000 into it. If you put in 50 or 60,000, maybe it's 10,000 to redo the siding, maybe more than that. The roof is good. You don't need to put in a whole lot of, you're gonna have to put in some carpet, but you've already got the tile put in. You've got so much of the work done, and you know what you're getting into. So, I think that this person probably is gonna nail it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, they paid 10% of value, on a home like that. I mean, with homes valued as high as that, with the potential, it's just hard to find. So yeah, they could probably turn around and sell that property without doing anything at all, and make a return on it. But if they do take it through and fix it up, yeah, they could make a substantial amount on that.